call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Present.
Commissioner Tippett,
Present.
Commissioner Whisman,
Here.
Commissioner Sauer,
Here.
Mayor May.
Here, we do have a quorum. If, Tom, would you let me know if you can't hear me? Not sure what's going on. It worked earlier.
It's really low and muffled, Mayor.
It's muffled, Mayor.
I'm going to switch mics for a second. All right. First item would be citizen comments. We'll call on the city clerk to read any citizen comments that we've received.
Okay, the first comment that we have is from Taylor Marshall. And Taylor says, City Commissioners, these comments are from Taylor Marshall, property business owner in downtown Frankfort. I'm not in favor of hiring a new position during what has to be a difficult economic future for all communities, including Frankfort. I am most definitely not in favor of hiring a new position that will involve adding more regulations to the currently overregulated historical property areas in our downtown. I have watched as our city has turned away investor after investor and investment after investment, some investing in their personal home and others investing in commercial spaces because of our notion of preservation. We are taking tens of millions of dollars turned away that would have been invested in creative, sustainable, rejuvenating ways. I have watched as talented, creative developers and entrepreneurs come to our town and make small investments to test the water and leave wondering how our town can be so unreceptive to their ideas and their dollars. We have lost their passion and their investments and their energy because we have so arbitrarily enforced the codes and the regulations in our downtown historical district. Before we hire a preservation officer, how about if we hire an electrical inspector? How about if we hire another building inspector? How about if we hire a fire chief? What we do right now, we do not do well. Let's focus on doing a good job of what we do right now before we add more layers of red tape that will end in more inconsistent decision-making. As a business owner of many types of businesses in this community, I can tell you from personal experience and the experience of almost everyone doing business in Frankfort, it is a difficult place to do business. We are not growing, so new money doesn't often come into our community, creating tighter margins. Our city systems are not consistent. Our city procedures are not clear. We lack key staffing to support business owners. When it takes 2 weeks to get return emails from city staff on everyday issues because they are so overwhelmed working hard already, we need to hire more support instead of figuring out ways to refuse more investment dollars. Spend the dollars seeking help to make the current systems work before adding more systems. Our notion of preservation has never been consistently enforced. We have made poor appointments to boards and put citizens and board members in adversarial positions because neither has the experience or the knowledge base or the consistent expectations to perform their roles well. We have an ARB that historically makes rogue decisions based on personal and political ideology. We have Frankfort's favorites who slide through the review process every time, while others and the people working for them are run through the coals. In fact, I have watched as an investor was called a liar in public by another Frankfort citizen at an ARB meeting. I have watched as my architect was called a liar at an ARB meeting by the ARB board. We need less, not more of this. Find a way to make Frankfort better instead of finding new ways to restrict growth of our community. Thanks, Taylor Marshall. The next citizen comment I have is from former Commissioner Robert Roach, which I took over the phone from him, and it's regarding the Historic Preservation Officer position. He states the position is unnecessary, and given what could be the future for revenue, we need to be careful adding any staff. And then I have one more, and this one is from Diane Strong. She says, I am not opposed to the addition of a historic preservation officer. However, I would like the city to recognize that this will likely add to the already confusing and sometimes intimidating processes involved in home and building renovations, etc. I request that the city consider attempting to simplify the processes without lowering our standards. An example of a city doing this is Covington, Kentucky. I request that the city research the recent changes and consider adopting a similar plan. And then she also adds a link to Covington's new Neighborhood Development Code program, a link to get to that. And thank you, Diane Strong. And I believe that's it, Mayor.
All right, thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Let's see, I believe we have some of our newly elected folks with us. Looking at the Commissioner-elect Kelly May. Welcome, Kelly. I'm not sure who caller number 2 is. If we know who that is, but anyway, welcome to any of our Commissioner-elect members. I think Mayor-elect Wilkerson was going to get on at some point. Anyway, all right, welcome and congratulations. Next item would be consent calendar items. Would ask
Mayor.
Yes, Commissioner Sauer.
Mayor, I'd like to move item number 6. It's not a big controversy to an action item, Chermie. And what would that be? Action item number 12. Is that right, Chermie? Okay. I have a little conflict, personal conflict with that particular item, so I'm going to have to recuse myself. So in order to vote that recusal, that's the necessity for making the move to 12 and the action items.
All right, because of that, if there's no objection, we'll move that to action item number 12.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. Mr. City Manager Russell.
Consent calendar, yes, sir. Minutes from the October 7, 2020 special meeting, October 12, 2020 special work session, October 26, 2020 special regular meeting. Item 2, purchase of 2020 F-250 for sewer. Purpose of this memo is to recommend the purchase of a 2020 F-250 for the sewer department and to authorize the mayor to sign all related documents. Total cost of the vehicle is $44,990 and a budget amount approved for the 2021 budget was $45,000. Number 3, purpose of this memo is to recommend a professional services agreement with Hardin and Associate for assistance with the lab and pre-treatment program and for the mayor to sign all related documents. Once the contract is approved and signed, sewer department will issue a purchase requisition amount of $20,000 for a professional services agreement with Hardin and Associates. Number 4, annual invoice for Mission Communications Sewer. Purpose of this memo is to recommend approval for the annual Mission Communication invoice and for the mayor to sign all related documents. This is a line item in the FY 2021 budget for $28,026.60. Number 5, professional service contract with GRW Engineers, Inc. for the design of the Prevention Park Pump Station, Sewer Department. This memo is to request commission approval of a professional services agreement with GRW Engineers, Inc. for engineering design services in the amount of $609,096 for the Prevention Park Pump Station, and for the mayor to sign all related documents. Funds are budgeted for this project in the 21-22 budget. We're skipping number 6. Number 7, purchase of 600 Shinkle Lane property sewer. Purpose of this memo is to recommend the purchase of property located at 600 Shinkle Lane, Frankfort, Kentucky, for $550,000, and for the mayor to sign all related documents. Frankfort Sewer Department will use reserve to pay for the property. The Sewer Department will send a purchase requisition to finance for the purchase price of $550,000. 8, purchase of Freightliner M2 106 for Sewer Department. Purpose of the memo is to recommend the purchase of a Freightliner M2 106 from Kentucky Truck Sales, Inc. in the amount of $99,824, and to authorize the mayor to sign all related documents. The Sewer Department will send a purchase requisition to finance for the purchase price of $99,824. Number 9, professional service contract with Bell Engineering for clarifier design for the Sewer Department. This memo is to request commission approval of a professional services agreement with Bell Engineering for engineering service design services in the amount of $287,000 for the design of additional clarifiers, and for the mayor to sign all related documents. Funds are budgeted for the 2021-22 for this project. 10, Tiger Grant Construction Award. The purpose of this memorandum is to seek commission approval to award, enter into a contract with Pace Contracting, LLC, for the construction of the 2nd Street Tiger project, and to authorize the mayor to sign all related documents. The current project budget of $9,075,000 is adequate to cover the low bid utility and streetlight work performed by Plant Board, Construction Engineering, and Inspection and Contingencies. 11, Two Creeks Upper and Blanton Acres final balancing change order, Sewer Department. This memo is to request commission approval for the final balancing change order for Two Creeks Upper and Blanton Acres LNL reduction project, or I&I, whichever one it is, and for the mayor to sign all related documents. A KIE loan will reimburse expenditures for this project. Number 12, McLean's mowing contract cancellation. Attachments are letter from Lewis McLean contract amendment, suggested disposition, receive and file and approve. 13, Juniper Hill season pass rates. Purpose of this agenda item is to seek commission approval for the 21 season rates at Juniper Hills Golf Course. Parks will implement these rates effective January 1, 2021. Number 14, Golf Pro contract from Ms. Ross. Attachments, Golf Pro contract, suggested disposition, receive and file and approve. Personnel action, appointment of Matthew Marshall, Fire Department, 12/8/20 as a fire marshal. Appointment of Jeff Brooks, Public Works Transit, 10/27/20 transit driver. Appointment Brandon Caudle, Parks and Rec, 11/24/20 Parks Golf Maintenance Worker. Resignation, Michael Fabian Shields from Fire, effective 11/13/20, firefighter 3, authorized payout of accrued leave. Promotions, Melanie Hawkinsmith, Sewer, 11/10/20 to foreman.
Move to approve, Mayor.
All right, moved by Commissioner Whisman,
Second.
second by Commissioner Sauer. All members who signify their presence will be considered to have voted in the affirmative on the consent items unless they file vote modification forms, which I don't believe we have any. So those items are approved. Thank you very much. Next item, I have a board appointment for Architecture Review Board. This is the appointment of Brittany Sands. I believe she had said, well, you should have her resume and letter. She represents preservation. This is one of the slots we have to fill based on a specific background. So she meets those qualifications.
Move to approve, Mayor.
Moved by Commissioner Whisman,
Second.
second by Commissioner Tippett. Any discussion? Seeing none, Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, thank you for your support, and we thank Ms. Sams for her willingness to serve. Next item would be second reading and first reading. The first one is a second reading. Would ask the solicitor to read it by title and summary only, please.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 26, 2016 series, the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances, Chapter 150, by amending the permit and inspection fees contained in subsections 151 building codes and 150.3 electrical codes. This ordinance amends the city's building and electrical code fees, Chapter 150, sections 150.1 and 150.3, in order to provide that owners beginning construction prior to obtaining the required permit may, at the discretion of the Director of the Department of Planning and Building Codes or his designee, be given one warning with a regular fee being assessed, rather than charging the additional fee of not less than $500, where it is the first time that the applicant has begun work without obtaining the required permit. This amendment is consistent with the policy of the Kentucky Department of Housing, Building, and Construction, which waives the additional fee of not less than $500 the first time an owner begins construction without first obtaining the required permit.
Move to approve, Mayor.
Moved by Commissioner Whisman,
Second.
second by Commissioner Sauer. Any discussion? Seeing none, Clerk, please call roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, that item is adopted. Next would be first reading of item number 2. So I'd ask the solicitor to read it by title and summary only, please.
An ordinance to amend the City of Frankfort's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 152, by amending Article 4.41 of the zoning regulations regarding special capital districts. This ordinance amends the city's zoning ordinance, Article 4.412, special capital districts, by classifying churches as a permissible conditional use within the district.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on this one? Okay, if not, go to number 3 and ask it be read by title and summary only.
An ordinance amending section 131.05 of the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances regarding wearing hoods and masks. This ordinance amends section 131.05 of the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances, restricting the wearing of masks and hoods to exempt any person wearing a mask for health or medical reasons, including but not limited to during a public health emergency for which masks are recommended or required.
All right, are there any questions on that?
Yes, Mayor.
Commissioner Whisman.
Could I just ask the city manager to, just for the public's information, this would seem to be giving a caveat that masks are not required, but it's a legal concern that we didn't have before, just an explanation for the public.
I believe speaking with the chief of police, it was actually something we probably needed to look at after this pandemic is over with, to make sure that the public doesn't continue wearing masks. The best of my recollection from that conversation. Chief Adams, is that what we were looking at?
Yeah, it's just a clarification of, because after the pandemic, and there will be people who choose to continue wearing masks, and the way the ordinance is written, they would be in violation. So we're just cleaning that up so that there's not a problem later.
Right, thank you.
Thank you for clarifying for the public.
All right. We are at number 4. Would ask that it be read by title and summary only, please, by the solicitor.
An ordinance amending section 37.31E.
Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner.
excuse me, maybe you or the city attorney could help me with. I would like to make a floor amendment to this ordinance. Is it more proper to go ahead and read through it and then make the amendment? What is the best procedure?
I would make the amendment first and then give it its first reading, so that way it would have its first reading as amended.
Okay. On page number, let's see, if you've got that in front of you, page number 2, 3, page number 4 in the ordinance, item number 2034. I would like to proceed with a floor amendment to change the pay grade from 82 to 86. What is, I understand that we do often is when we hire a new person, we seek the midpoint of a salary range. The salary range for an 82 is $45,221 to $71,000. However, as I understand it, the hiring mid-range pay grade would be $58,110. I don't think you're going to find an extraordinary historic preservation officer for $58,110. It's furthermore my understanding that if that particular historic preservation officer had a pay grade of 86, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that would move the initial pay grade for hiring to $65,000. If Ms. Fields could check that or double check that. And it's $65,000. I just think we're going to get a much better person to fill that important job.
Okay. There's Ms. Fields.
There she is.
I don't know if you heard Commissioner Sauer's question. By moving the pay grade from 82 to 86, Commissioner Sauer's question was, will that start, I don't know if it was saying starting or mid-grade at 65,000?
The starting for that grade would be 50,876, and an offer to that candidate could be made up to a midpoint of $65,384 at a grade 86.
Okay. Commissioner Sauer,
65, 380, 384. Okay,
Yes.
then that would be my desire.
Okay.
Mayor,
And-
I'll second for discussion.
Okay. Commissioner Tippett has a question.
I do. I generally agree with the need to attract higher quality candidates. I'm all for that. I guess my real question is who are we competing with for these highest quality people? Are we attracting these folks from higher education? Are they teachers? If the question then is, is that a competitive salary for us to get the best person? That's my real question. So who typically, what field would they come from? I guess Commissioner Whisman probably would have a better idea of that than most of us.
Okay. Commissioner Whisman, do you have an
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. Per our certified local government agreement with Kentucky Heritage Council, we are tasked with having a full-time preservation professional on staff. And a couple of years ago, the National Park Service defined the architectural historian or architectural history degrees as a graduate program in certain fields with substantial experience in that field. So what we're competing with, it would not be an educational person per se, although it may be someone at the collegiate level. More likely, it would be someone professional within the realm who has worked at a state historic preservation office like our local office here in Frankfort. Someone who maybe has worked at the state archaeology office, or has worked at the local government level or in private practice in the realm of historic preservation as an professional architectural historian generally. So the range from what I've gleaned and pulled together has a fairly broad range across the nation, but I believe about a $65,000 rate would be comparable, if not just slightly better than other municipalities, but probably fairly in keeping with the private sector. So we would be looking at perhaps someone, like I said, from State Historic Preservation Office. This generally would not be someone who's just graduated from a master's program. The job description, as I had initially drafted it, required that there was some familiarity and experience with local government or state regulatory issues. So we're sort of in that realm. Does that answer your question, Commissioner?
All right. Commissioner Waldridge.
I do believe Tommy had his hand up before me, but
That's okay, because I usually try to.
okay.
But
No, that's okay. Okay. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I just, what is this industry standard for this particular position? I don't see that it's a huge increase that Sauer has proposed, but what is the industry standard for this that we've done as far, Kathy, that we have done any research on this? And though we have the job description, do we feel that, hiring this person maybe at the beginning of the year or on with a new commission, will we have plenty of work for a full-time position to stay busy and actually get our money's worth? And what does that salary range look like and tagging on our benefits, Kathy?
That's what I was going to answer, Commissioner Waldridge.
Okay. Go for it.
So, City Manager, you can answer if you want to.
Okay. When we looked at the the government pay scale for historians, those were in the mid 40s down in through the pay scale. And then when we went to the industry standards, those were in the mid 50s. So the pay that Commissioner Sauer is recommending is well above the mid range. We should certainly be able to attract the best of the best with that pay scale, I would think, with that pay. As far as, do we know whether we have enough work for anybody to do since we haven't had this? The only thing that we have is planning has somebody on a consultant basis for this. So the way that we look at historical work around here, it just seems to me that we have plenty of things to do right off the bat. Now in 5 years, what happens? I can't answer that, but I think that pay range will attract the best of the best, it would seem to me.
Okay. All right, thank you. Commissioner Tippett.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to provide some information in support of the position. I would also like to enter, and it probably already is, I'd like to enter into the record Dr. Mink's letter of guidance from the KYOSA to the city of Frankfort in regards to antiquities and and archaeological sites. I think this portion of it will round out this person's job nicely, and make sure that this person is performing services for remuneration. If you don't mind, if you'll indulge me, folks, Bobby, can you put that letter up, please, sir? Is Bobby here?
He's here somewhere.
I think it's important, Mayor, for the commission to see the letter and for the public to see it as well. Okay, can we get that letter up, Bobby? Dr. Meeks's letter.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, I'll give you a second to do that, Bobby. Thank you. Can you scroll down a little bit, Bobby?
Yes. Let's see.
This letter is in regard to a presentation I made some time back and some open records requests, CORA requests of oversight agencies for heritage and archaeological protection. I think it is important that all citizens read this letter from Dr. Minks. He is the authority on state archaeology. We've also, if you call, sent open records requests to Transportation Cabinet and the Heritage Council. Okay, and we have received the responses from those agencies in regard to our requests. So what I will do is I'm going to read a few bullet points here. These are mainly from the State Archaeology Office, okay? And it's really kind of a synopsis of Dr. Mink's letter to us. And I'll try to paraphrase him, but citizens and the new commissioners and the mayor-elect need to familiarize themselves with this document. It is important for them moving forward. This is from Dr. Mink. There are objects of antiquity and archaeological sites identified and potential sites located in Leslie Morris Park or Fort Hill that are afforded legal protections under the Kentucky Antiquities Act. In the future, and if Bobby, if you'll scroll up, please, to the second page, the first paragraph in the second page, you see that? Folks can see this. Okay, so in the future, Kentucky Office of State Archaeology and other oversight agencies should be contacted and plans submitted to them before major ground disturbing projects commence. That's the gist of his letter. You can make draw your own conclusions as to if we have been compliant with that previously. I think this process, though, been long and the travails have been hard, we finally reached a point here where we can move forward and satisfy all of the desires and the needs of the community, because through this process, we become educated as to what we were supposed to do. Director Pickens, who I have the utmost respect for and his professionalism, is now equipped with the appropriate information and protocols that will include and be able for an expansion of connectivity and trails, which we are all for. And we'll be able to place these plans and protect our cultural resources, both above ground and underground, in the parks master plan for all of our parks in the city of Frankfort. So we've reached this point through some some painful experiences, but we are now at the point, and I think if folks will read this letter from Dr. Mink, he goes into great detail explaining how these things can be accomplished and how they should be accomplished, where we're not placing one wish or desire of the community and the commission imperiling another equally important desire or wish of the commission. So this lays out a framework for us to, and for the next commission to proceed with when we are looking for expanding connectivity in all of our parks. So I am submitting this letter to the record, for the record, if it wasn't already in the record. And I would like to submit my synopsis. I'll get that to you, Chermie, later, okay, in hard copy to the record, and encourage all of our citizens and the new board to familiarize themselves with this document and the other documents that are provided by the Heritage Council and the Transportation Cabinet. So I will say once again, reiterate that this is supportive of the position that we are creating. And I fully believe and expect this new position will streamline the process and avoid some controversies. So with that, I'll retire. Thank you.
So Commissioner Tippett, want to ask. Oh, and also Commissioner-elect Lisa Unger has joined us. So thank you for being here with us, Commissioner-elect Unger. We're glad that you're here, and congratulations on your win as well. Let's see. I know Commissioner Tippett, I guess the question I had from that information, it appears that information that we may have been given or that we were given doesn't appear to have been accurate. Is that what this letter?
We can draw our own conclusions, Mayor. I don't think anybody was being duplicitous, but it appears that we did not follow the correct protocols, especially with our underground cultural resources. And I think Commissioner Whisman can probably speak to that more authoritatively than I can. But it is obvious that we've made some missteps and miscues. And what really is why this is of so paramount importance is Leslie Morris Park was purchased with federal monies by the city of Frankfort, which obligates us to these protocols. Okay, now if we had bought that with our own money, we could do it as we please, but we are still obligated to follow these protocols because we did purchase the park with federal monies. That's in the law. That's in the Antiquities Act. And the Antiquities Act covers all of this ground that we've been talking about. So are we saying somebody was duplicitous? No. Are we saying mistakes were made? More than likely. Everybody is, really wants to do good things, and we're all enthusiastic. But, what it really reinforces to me, Mayor, is, and I've known this for 27 years from teaching school, sometimes it's good to take a deep breath and stop and be deliberative and investigate and make sure that we've turned over every stone. I think it can be said that we did not do that previously. So I think we can get back on track. I think Dr. Minks and Mr. Stockman of the Heritage Council has submitted a plan that he'd like for us to follow through with. Mr. City Manager, at some point, you may want to explain what Mr. Stockman's proposal is for Fort Hill. And it includes connectivity and trails. So I guess what I'm saying is, if we had taken this slower, more deliberative approach in the beginning, we would have had trails, and we would have protected our cultural resources.
Mayor, I think we're off topic. Can we get back on topic to our ordinance that we're trying to get signed in? We've been off topic for a while. I understand this goes underneath of and around about what the person will hold, but we're talking about the ordinance of trying to do this HR process with Kathy and getting a position.
Mayor, may I?
I was going to say was that had this position been in place, previous mistakes could have been prevented. Is that where you're going.
That is
Commissioner.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
That's what I thought. That's why I was allowing.
That's my mayor. That's my opinion.
Okay.
And I draw that opinion from reading the letters from the open records responses and from Dr. Minks. Those are my opinions and my conclusions. But I say anybody can read those documents. They're public and they're part of the record. So I guess what I would say to Commissioner Waldridge is, this is important. Okay, we're laying the foundation for.
I understand it's important, but that's not what's on the agenda. And we have been very faithful in sticking to what's on the agenda. And Laura, please help me out. We're going off of another direction of this item. There's other items. We are talking about the ordinance right now.
Mayor, I have the floor. Mayor, do I have the floor? Do I have the floor, Mayor?
When Commissioner Tippett is through, I've already ruled that his comments that I asked him were to the position that this.
Oh God. Okay. Fine. We have 30 minutes to go. Fine.
I don't want to digress, Commissioner, but we've indulged you many times. We listened to you for an hour and a half talking about boxcar. Okay.
That was worth it. You're off topic.
This is much more important than that.
Commissioner Waldridge, Commissioner Tippett has the floor.
Thank you. What I'm doing is rising in support on the floor of the position, and I'm laying a factual foundation of why I think it's important that we have it. And with that, I'll retire again.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sauer?
I think the question arose, is there enough work for the person to do? That was raised by the commission. And I think part of what Commissioner Tippett was talking about is there's more than enough to do. There are other sites besides Fort Hill, whether it's Capitol View Park and Hayden Station out there, and the first waterworks in the state of Kentucky out at Cove Springs. There's more to do than meets the eye. Thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner Whisman.
Yes, Mayor. A couple of questions that were addressed there. Let me remind everyone that this position will be on the front line, really, with the public. And in light of some of our opposition comments at the beginning of this meeting, for some time we've needed someone with expertise to maneuver the public's perception, to educate the public, and to work hand in hand with our developers and with our private property owners and residents to best use and best administer our preservation regulations. And not only that, but to really bring forward federal opportunities, state grant and preservation tax credit funds, and a lot of other programs that we've not used to best advantage in this community ever, truthfully. We've had a mandate that our city agreed to in 1986 that we've been very short in fulfilling on our end for some time. And I think as other items have addressed, we are really going after those problems here to make a more user-friendly, more knowledgeable system at our local government. So there's the negative comments, but this is directly targeting those issues, which we've all known there have been issues. I particularly, having previous roles, know very intimately those problems. But also, as we've discussed already, there are numerous issues that we've had as this commission over the last 2 years that we needed that expertise level to do our due diligence, to comply with federal and state regulations in our parks and beyond that we've not done. So all of that together, in my mind, creates probably more than what one person can ever do in a full-time position in the future. But in regards to salary schedule, I've done a brief survey of salaries. More particularly, I think the direct comparison for our city is at the State Historic Preservation Office here in Frankfort, where a similar position is held. And the salary range on that position, if I'm not correct, is about 60 to 80,000. So I feel this is much more in line with that position and positions across the state. Of course, they vary greatly according to their duties and their responsibilities in Lexington, Louisville, Covington, Bardstown, Shelbyville, and so on. I know I'm missing some others, but we're trying, I think we should always be mindful and focus on trying to attract the absolute best talent that we can to Frankfort, because inevitably what we do as a city of Frankfort, as the capital city, bleeds over into state government very often. And those working relationships are very important, not just for our community, but for the roles and the processes that are created here in Frankfort that then get replicated in other communities across the state. So again, this position is more than what one person can do. I'm completely aware and positive. We have a lot of big projects that are on the table right now that need some professional guidance. And as well, we need someone knowledgeable to work with our citizens so we directly combat this this negative stereotype about historic preservation in our city. It is shown nationwide to benefit communities that have strong preservation regulations, to increase property values, to attract stronger business types. They're less susceptible to changes in the economy. The accolades go on and on and on. So I think that should answer most of the issues that have been brought up and addressed here, and I'd ask for a vote.
Okay, well, it's just a first reading tonight. So we'll vote at a.
We need to vote on the amendment, Mayor.
We didn't do that. Though. Okay, Commissioner Wald, do you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to go back to the relevant thing that we were speaking of, which was back to Kathy. Kathy, we have the low point, we have the midpoint. What is the max out point you would have them?
Which pay grade were you asking about? Grade 82?
I believe it was the 86, because we're jumping up from, I think, was it an 82 to an 86, which is a pretty big jump. What is that max point, and will that then put our HR process for this particular position in a different trajectory, that we will max out quick sooner, or what does that look like on that end?
The max out for a grade 86 is $79,872. Compared to at a grade 82, which had been proposed, that max out is 71,000 flat.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Commissioner Sell, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, to further clarify, what we're talking about is the midpoint of those two salaries. The midpoint, again, in the 82 level is $58,110. The midpoint in the 86 level, which is what we're asking for, is $65,384. So you have approximately $7,000 in increase in the salary from what was originally proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next item would be voting on the amendment. Thank you for reminding me, Commissioner Whisman. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed, like sign.
I oppose.
Okay, so the ayes have it. Amendment is adopted, and now I'll ask for first reading of number 4 as amended. Please. Title and summary only.
An ordinance amending section 37.31E of the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances relating to pay plan, classification, and compensation. This ordinance amends section 37.31E of the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances relating to pay plan, classification, and compensation to create the position of Historic Preservation Officer, to amend the pay grade for the following positions: Parks and Rec Deputy Director and Purchasing Agent Deputy Director, and to remove the term annual from the description of the Golf Pro contract.
All right. Thank you very much. Our next item is item number 5, Second Street Tiger Project, grant agreement amendment number 3 in resolution. This is just sorry to change my screen. This would be to amend the agreement between KYTC and the City of Frankfort This would be amendment number 3. If there's any questions, we have staff here. If not, would entertain a motion to amend this, please.
Mayor, I would like to clarify just what the amendments are. I don't see in my packet, I didn't see something highlighted or bolded that would indicate what the,
Okay,
what the amendment was.
that's fine. Phase 2 was approved on by the DOT on March 16th, and we entered into amendment 2 to move 200,000 of Tiger funds, and then down to it. And this would be now that we've approved the entire 7,990,000 of federal funds that have now been approved and authorized by DOT, FHWA, and Kentucky Division in the cabinet. So if you need more technical questions, I believe Chuck Knowles is on here and he could flesh that out for you if so desired, Commissioner Whisman.
So this is just the formal agreement then with the state after we approve the 7 million in the consent calendar then. Okay.
Correct.
I should have checked on that earlier, sorry. I'll move to approve.
All right, moved by Commissioner Whisman. Who's a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sauer. Any discussion? And then clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, the amendment and resolution are approved.
And Mayor, if we may just note for the public who might be listening that the this moves the construction phase for the 2nd Street, the Tiger Grant, to begin in January. That's exciting.
Next item is a resolution pledging a commitment to the Simon House. This is supporting an agreement that the Simon House has to lease from the fiscal court building located at 231 East Main Street and establish a new emergency homeless shelter. If there's any questions, we'll answer. If not,
Mayor, comment, Mayor. I don't think that we've had this in the public realm as yet. We had a closed session about this, but this is to take the old health department building on East Main and convert it into shelter space, which is much needed for this community. And the Simon House has agreed to operate that, and we are partnering with the fiscal court to do renovations to that building, to upgrade it, add HVAC and some other things to make it usable shelter space in our community. So it's a great step. This was something I talked about my first week with Mr. Russell as emergency management director and his role in working with our shelters. And I'm so happy to see it finally move to fruition and see that building used. I thought it was an ideal location for a shelter space, and I'm happy that the fiscal court came along as the property owner to work with us to make that happen. So with that, I'll move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Whisman. Commissioner, did you just second? I saw your mic come on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor. I'm sorry. I'm having some problems here with my mic.
That's okay. I couldn't tell if you said anything or not.
Well, I tell you what, since there's some problems here, could we get Commissioner Whisman to restate what he just said? Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Technical difficulties.
Commissioner, I just moved to approve, but I said that if you'd like the full rundown here, that I don't believe we've said this in public yet, but this action is to work with the Franklin County Fiscal Court as the owner of the old health department building on the corner of East Main and to make that usable shelter space in partnership with the Simon House. So
Second.
we're agreeing to partner with Franklin County Fiscal Court and pledge an amount of money to renovate that building for the Simon House to use. And I'd said that this was one of the priorities that I brought to Mr. Russell at the very beginning, the first week, I think it was, of my term, to try to make that building usable. I thought it was a really ideal space to add a shelter amenity to our community. So I was just saying that I was very happy to see it moving forward and seeing that it's going to be operational probably very quickly for additional shelter space for women, homeless women, and children in our community.
And I heard your second come through, Commissioner Tippett.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
I will say yes, as it seems like they're moving forward, definitely. I don't support this 110%, putting so much money into this building and redoing it. I don't know if it's the best option for us, but since they're moving forward, it's already been approved by the county, I would say yes and go ahead and support it because we are in need of more space. But I just think that there's better ways to handle this situation. Thank you.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman,
Absolutely, yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
I too have some reservations about this particular expenditure. I'm going to vote yes. However, you know, in the future, I think we need to look to a location that better services the clientele. And out there at the old health building, I think that could be improved upon. But since there's already obligations been made by the county, I'm going along with it. Thank you.
Mayor May.
Yes, and explaining my vote, I'll vote yes. Thanks to all that worked on this, particularly our emergency management team who have been meeting with various social service agencies for the past couple of years to come up with solutions to provide more space and better services to those that need those types of services. So thanks directly to our emergency management team for doing that. And all those agencies that cooperated. So my vote is again, thank you. I voted yes, that's what I was explaining. All right, next item, number 7 is a surplus order for transit to surplus various miscellaneous items that should be listed. If you need specific information, we can ask our city manager or our public works directors on if you need it. If not, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Move that we approve.
Moved by
Second.
Commissioner Sauer, second by Commissioner Whisman. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, that item is adopted.
Mayor, may I have one request with that. The description we got for the itemization list, I just wanted to ask and make sure I did a training on this at one point in time. Since these were primarily federal funds used, I would like to make sure that we have a full accounting, serial numbers, whatever those may be, and make sure we're in compliance for surplusing those items. We don't seem to surplus things very much at all, so I was wanting to make sure they seem to pile up in a couple of our buildings instead, so I want to make sure we're in compliance with that.
Okay. If the staff would please take note of that. I believe that when that is, it does have that list on the full list, but I don't think that we have, that's not something that we have in front of us, but I believe the staff would have the more detailed list. Is that correct, Mr. City Manager?
I'm sure somebody has that full list, Mayor, and I'll make sure that we stay in compliance. And I do agree with Commissioner Whisman. Sometimes we have a lot of stuff pile up.
That's true. Our solicitor, Ms. Ross, were you saying you're raising your hand like you have it, or you wanted to say something?
I was just going to ask if you need something more itemized than the list that's attached, or there are more details. And if so, we don't have to talk about it tonight, but can you, Commissioner Whisman, get with me on that? is this itemized list okay, or?
I
we
think
need
what
to-
he's saying is to comply with GAO standards.
Okay.
Government Accounting Office standards of being specific about the, like I said, serial numbers. I think that's what you're saying. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, Commissioner Whisman, but
That'd be great.
that's what I think you're saying.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah, that's essentially it. A training I did was suggestive that local governments should be more thorough in surplusing things, especially when federal funds were used in their acquisition, and complete information instead of 5 modems, putting the serial numbers of each of those modems and things like that. So just thought it's good business to do. And if this is the only list, perhaps we need to go through and do that. I know that's work, but it is an important component.
I'll check on that. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Whisman. All right, also see Kyle Thompson, City Commissioner-elect, has also joined us. Congratulations to Mr. Thompson, and thank you for being here with us. Let's see, next item would be number 8, police surplus vehicle order. This is to surplus some vehicles that are listed. I won't go through each one unless commissioners have specific items about them, but that list should be included, and I'm sure that they'll put the VIN number with all that. So I was thinking ahead for you there, Commissioner Wilson.
Yeah, move to approve, Mayor.
Moved by
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sauer. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, that is adopted. Next, item number 9, Parks Projects Update on Fort Hill. Is that Mr. Parks Director going to do it, or is the manager going to do it?
Mr. Pickens on?
He is on.
Yes, sir.
and he's ready to go. So, Ms. Pickens, go ahead, please.
All right. Yes, the fencing at Fort Hill will be here shortly. I spoke with them, the company, last week. They've had a little delay in shipping, but they told me it would be here in about 1 to 2 weeks. That was last week. So I'm expecting a call either this week or next week of that arriving. So hopefully we'll be good to go there. We'll start a joint effort between park staff and Public Works, because it will be a sizable undertaking to complete the split rail fencing around the Fort Boone and the New Redoubt areas. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll be getting started on that project. And as it does, I'll keep everybody updated on our progress and when we're going to start working. Also, what was discussed earlier about the archaeological reviews and working with Mr. Stockman and Dr. Mink from UK, all of that is ongoing. We've, as Commissioner Tippett was speaking about earlier, we've received several documents from them. So we're being educated as we go here, and we now have a much clearer avenue to move forward. We're well aware of the regulations and the procedures that Mr. Tippett was speaking about earlier. So that way, moving forward with the Parks Master Plan, we'll be able to work with the Branstetter Carroll and with Dr. Mink and those folks, and be able to move forward with any particular plans moving forward to Fort Hill. So I think we're in good shape moving forward, and I'll take any questions that you might have.
All right, Commissioner Tippett has his hand up. Commissioner Tippett.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. You were in the meeting with Mr. Stockman and Dr. Mink, were you not, sir? At Fort Hill? Did you attend that meeting?
Yes, sir, I was.
I thought you were.
Yes.
And I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, Director Pickens, we have made provisions to protect identified archaeological sites with the split railing fence. Is that correct?
Yes, you are correct. Yes.
Okay, and did Dr. Mink and Dr. Stockman both indicate that there were probably unidentified archaeological sites on the site as well? And Mr. Stockman has a separate and distinct proposal from Dr. Mink, but I believe they both want to review all of the ground, including the ground that is behind what was the old Capitol Plaza Tower. Is that correct also?
Yes, you are correct. In exploring Fort Hill more, and with those folks, we have found a couple of areas on Fort Hill that was previously not known to us, and are particular or could be objects of antiquity. Excuse me. So we're working on that. So yes.
Okay, Sean, thank you and great job as always.
You're welcome, sir.
Commissioner Sauer.
Yeah.
Oh, Commissioner Sauer, you got muted there, sir.
Since we have Sean on item number 9, titled Parks Projects, plural, updates, I don't think I would be too much out of order to ask how the sewer work is being done at Capitol View Park.
As far as I know, things are progressing nicely. I know it kind of looks like a war zone down there right now because there is a lot of heavy equipment and a lot of digging going on, but that's good progress. The last I spoke with Mr. Hogston, we reviewed the current plans, and he is on schedule, and I think everything's moving along just fine.
Commissioner Sauer, we are about 75 to 80% complete now. We have moved to the
Great
phase, and so hopefully we're looking. It should be before Christmas. We'll be completed, and then after Christmas, doing some dress-up work to make sure everything's back and ready to be open. But probably 1 to 2 weeks, and the main park entrance should be back open for everybody to use.
And Kenny, that's for the whole park. Your sewer system is going to handle the whole of Capitol View Park, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Commissioner Whisman.
Mayor, thank you. I just wanted to thank Mr. Parker. I attended the walk around with Dr. Stockman, Dr. Mink, and some others on Fort Hill recently. And, there's been a lot of discussion in our community about our parks and wanting to move fast on projects. But we've got to remember that these places are owned by all of us and all future generations. And so we have to do our due diligence. And I think, as Mr. Tippett stated, what we found on Fort Hill are a number of historic artifacts, historic features like stone walls and some other things that we found out had never been surveyed, had never been recorded, and beyond just being on the landscape, they don't exist in any of our files or any of our work. So all of that is part of the process to ensure that we protect these places for future generations, and frankly sets a standard for us to go forward to develop our parks in an appropriate manner that is respective really of all viewpoints and all interest levels. People come to our parks not only for activity, but for historic amenities and features and the natural landscape as well. So I'm thankful that we're moving forward with that, and I'm anxious to see the results. We approved last meeting Mr. Stockman's bid to do further archaeological investigation on Fort Hill and see where that goes with us. And I suspect hopefully that the next commission will have to further review those findings that are going to be conducted, I assume, later this winter, and figure out a plan to appropriately protect those features as well in the future, as part of our master park planning process as well. So thank you, Mr. Pickens, for taking up that mantra and moving forward with that. I hope in maybe our next meeting we can discuss how maybe we interpret some of those features, particularly at Coast Springs and Fort Hill, with some historic markers. So I'm going to ask to add that to our next agenda.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. I want to ask a quick question to the solicitor. So since we listed parks projects update, it's okay to talk about other projects.
Actually, we were specific to Fort Hill, but I think we've already talked about a couple of projects. So.
Okay, I was just gonna. So do you think it's okay to talk about them? Be better not to.
I think we meant it to be specific to Fort Hill.
Okay, well let's.
But it's, it's a gray area.
I know, because I was just gonna ask about the urban forestry plan. We can.
I think it's a little bit of a gray area, Mayor.
Okay. I was gonna say was again. Anybody else have any other comments on parks projects? I would ask. Go ahead. Sorry, Commissioner Tippett.
So, Ms. Ross, are we talking about the urban forestry program? Yes. Yes.
My suggestion would be to limit it to Fort Hill due to the nature of the way the agenda item was written.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. You're the best, Ms. Ross.
I'll leave it at that. Okay. I will, though, take a point of personal privilege because of some recent comments against the city on that process. Since I have feel like those were inappropriately made. I've always tried to keep rhetoric and tone to be positive and try to present myself and the city in a positive light, try to be fair and not deal with the name calling and sometimes rude behavior that sometimes gets exhibited. So I would say that to correct the record here, the city has had a long history of planting trees. In fact, back in my first term as mayor, we started the trees program, the urban forestry program. And the very first thing that we did was the urban forestry program was started after the Division of Forestry contacted me after some comments I made in the newspaper, in the media at the time, not just newspaper, but across that spectrum, in concerns about some clear cutting on some ridge lines. And the state offered a $10,000 grant to start the urban forestry program. So we did that, but one of the requirements was that we appoint a tree board. So I appointed Andrew Kamick as the very first appointment to that board. He later went on to become our city arborist and work in a very positive manner. So when people accuse the city of not following through on I think 300 and some trees, when we've planted thousands and thousands of trees, we've had our own tree nursery. We have our own arboretum that's out by East Frankfort Park to show people what type of trees can be planted in and around power lines and what they look like mature. I just find it surprising that people would accuse the city of not being supportive of that. And in fact, the real record is that I believe the Parks Department and the tree or urban forestry program chaired by Mr. Bobby Stone and our wonderful members on those boards had recommended our program be updated and have a number of trees planted. There was a budgetary amount, and the former city manager cut that from the budget. I wasn't aware of it. I don't know if any of the members in the commission were aware of it. If I was, I would have pushed to have that added. And I think the late September, October meeting, I don't remember, Commissioner Whisman had reminded me that we had not filled that arborist position. So he brought it back to the table. And I just want to say that I don't know that anybody on the commission doesn't support planting trees. I believe I would say that probably everybody here does. But I did say to Mr. Russell, I would like to bring that back to a student, maybe a special meeting to talk about updating that plan, and to say that the city has over the years been very supportive of doing that, planting trees. And our urban forestry program has won numerous awards. We were designated a tree city. I don't remember, usually it takes communities 5 years to do that. We did it in way less than that. I think we were the first city to do that, according to the Division of Forestry. We did that faster than any community in history in Kentucky. So we have a long history of that, and because of that, I would like to see us have that on for a special meeting as soon as we can to go ahead and get that updated so that we can appropriate money. And we always will say to people are always welcome to donate money to us. We always will accept that, but we need to make sure that we go through the right process. And what sounds like to me is some of the information never made it to, or a lot of it never made it to the commissioners that I'm aware of, certainly because it certainly didn't have any thing that I could find. And I don't know if anyone on the commission would have been aware of it. If you were, you can speak up. If not, that's okay. But I find it disheartening when people make comments based in innuendo and not fact, because the record cannot be changed. That record speaks for itself. The thousands of trees we've planted and maintained are here, documented, and we appreciate all the work that our urban forestry board, our tree board, and our park staff have done to get us to that point. So any confusion that happened out of that is because it would have been something that would not have gone through the proper channels and not been authorized by the city. So immediately our city manager contacted me and said what was going on, and that we would bring that up as soon as we could. So we will get that plan updated, see what the commission wants to do with it. I believe the commission is supportive. If not, then obviously we'll vote on that. But it just bothers me when I see false information being put out. And again, the facts will speak for themselves, not disputable. When people go and work with staff and city manager and the board doesn't, as a group, the whole board doesn't know about it, that's what causes problems. So just another case of a situation that I don't know that anybody did any staff-wise, made any decisions that they didn't tell us about, but I do know that from what I found out today after speaking with our city manager and parks director, that plan had been submitted for budget approval and it had been cut. So I'm bothered that false information was put out there, and the record again clearly shows the thousands and thousands of trees that we have planted, and we will update this plan. One of the things we have to remember too is sometimes people don't want trees in their front yard because they might be folks that are elderly and can't maintain raking leaves, that type of thing. So again, we'll move forward at a special meeting, and because I was aggrieved by that, I take a point of personal privilege to clarify the record. And I think again, anybody who wants to check those facts will go through our city minutes and look when that board was created and what they've done over the years. Mr. Andrew Kamek is a great resource on that. We've talked many times about it. But anyway, next item then we'll go to number 10, sidewalks and street repairs. I believe that's going to be our Public Works Director. And then Commissioner.
Yes,
Scott.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to turn my camera on. It's not wanting
Okay,
to cooperate.
The
I
one
do
that-
have an update I can give. Sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you.
No, it's a delay. Don't worry about it.
I think we've made a lot of good progress on our resurfacing this year before the weather turns cold. We've gotten a good start with Rolling Acres, Winding Way. You pull up my list here. Langford, Missouri, Altamont, that includes Capitol Heights and Owsley, as well as Commonwealth Boulevard, and then a section on Ridgeview Drive. So that's our resurfacing that we do based on our rating list, based on quality of the streets. So we've got to start on that, and it's probably going to slow down now here until spring. We've spent on that contract just about $275,000 so far. So we've got a good chunk left to finish up a lot of streets in the spring and summer. Another thing we've done is with our utility cut contract, we've gone back and repaired some streets where there have been significant utility work, such as Stevenson, Herod, Johnson, and a portion of Jackson. And we will have some more on that in the spring as well, including Swigert and portions of Lions Drive. These lists, like I say, each month, they're constantly changing, and we're adding to it and redetermining, redistributing that list. So as requests come in, we evaluate that. We've also got a few projects that we want to pave in order to improve drainage. There are a couple of areas where we need to change the cross slope on the street or something like that to help them drain better. That is pretty much it on street paving, unless there are any questions, and I'll go on to sidewalks real quick.
Okay. Commissioner Whisman, you have a question on streets?
Yes, Mayor, I just was wondering if Mrs. Beard had an opportunity yet to, I think it was last meeting, it may have been the one before, we asked if you would identify additional streets that you think are high priority, but maybe beyond the funding capacity that we have right now. Just wondering if you have any thoughts to maybe bring forward to us at one of our next meetings, if there are,
Yeah, since we have a prioritized list, we've kind of grouped them together in neighborhoods. I've got a spreadsheet here that totals about $819,000. We previously had about $650 approved, I believe. So if we were to attempt to complete this list, we would probably come back to you with a request for additional funding to complete the rest of those projects. I don't have a specific request, but I do have on my list several areas such as the Buttermere Hill area, the Colonial Trace area, and I've got Grandview, Patricia, Butler, and Elkhorn, which is on hold for a stormwater project, but we do hope to get that stormwater project done in the spring and possibly get those paved this year. So we've kind of got it broken down like that.
Okay. You're saying maybe 175,000 is needed to finish the priority streets more than what we have at current. I'll follow up with you on the rest of that. But I want to thank you. I've got a number of compliments, particularly Rolling Acres and Jackson Drive, and some of those utility cuts that the citizens are just ecstatic about the roads paving, and I think that makes people happier than sadly anything else. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, those some of those, just to clarify, were done before we had our resurfacing right-of-way standards in place. So we didn't collect fees on those. That's why those were paved a little bit later after construction had been completed for a couple of years. But I'm glad to have gotten that done. And it is a smoother ride for sure. As far as sidewalks, those are little bit slower moving. We've got some more detailed work going on Main Street, a lot of work that they have to do by hand. But we have on our list the Silver Lake area, both Silver Lake 1 and 2, those are still on our list. And just again, as a reminder, we like to focus on repairing sidewalks that are existing, but we do also have several sidewalk extension projects on our list that we hope to get to soon. We just need to address some of these existing sidewalks first, but we do have some extensions along Georgetown Road, Brighton Park area, and then hopefully we can get a Shinkle Lane sidewalk project going in the next year or so. So that's kind of where we are with sidewalks.
Thank you. I want to give special thanks to Commissioner Sauer for really pushing a few months back on this to try to get these projects moved up and add some more funding for streets and sidewalks. It makes a difference. There's many places that really need that. And again, thanks Commissioner Sauer for spearheading that, and to the commission for supporting it. Again, Ms. Beard and your staff and Public Works, we appreciate the never-ending work that faced with in Public Works. That department, as all departments, but there's always some projects that we have to do in Public Works, and never enough money and enough time and staff to keep them up. But we thank you for that again. I know the commission joins me in saying thanks for doing that. And it makes it safer for our community too. Commissioner Whisman, another question?
Sorry, Mayor, I just thought I would ask, while we're on the subject, if Ms. Beard has any thoughts on or any knowledge of additional utility work that's going on in the community right now that is scheduled to be completed sometime soon. I'm not aware of anything going on through the winter, but is there any?
I am not either. I think the gas company, I believe, is wrapping up in the Arlington area. I think they may have something more next year in the Thornhill area, but I will double check on that and see. But that's the only thing really on my radar at this point.
Thank you.
Any others before we move on? All right. Thanks for that update. Next item is fiber to home, something that has been important to me the past several years. And several years back, I'd asked our FPB folks to look at trying to make Frankfort a gigabit city. We would, at the time, could have been one of the first, and we'd asked that we tried to get an appropriation from the commission at the time, but we're unsuccessful. So I want to give special thanks to our FPB board members and our FPB staff for working very hard to make this happen. I think having our general manager, Gary Zing, in place has been a tremendous asset for us here in the community, and the wonderful board members who are on the FPB Frankfort Plant Board right now have done a tremendous job of keeping things on a smooth and even keel. Everything is calmed down from best I can tell. Staff is working well together. The board's working well together, and Mr. Zing has done a tremendous job of bringing some steady leadership in concert with the board members. So, the need for fiber optic service continues to increase within telecommunication networks around the world, driven by the rise in the demand for higher bandwidth and faster connectivity. And FPB has long provided fiber service access to our businesses and schools, but now Frankfort is moving to the next level to a fiber to the home network. This will give our community access to some of the fastest internet speeds around. The new service will start at 500 megabytes per second and go to 1 gig, which is 1,000 megabytes per second. FPB employees and contractors are currently working in phases of the 5-year plan to complete the network. Beginning early next year, fiber will be available in limited areas, approximately 25 to 30% of FPB's entire service area. and preparations for this fiber network have been in the works for years, and I am very proud to see it coming to fruition. And anyone that's kept up with this knows the importance of providing this type of service, especially for entrepreneurs in our community, to have faster digital networks. There was an article in Inc. magazine, INC period, the name, and it was titled "How Gigabit Internet is Turning Smaller U.S. Cities into Tech Hotspots." And then the subheading of that was "Hyperfast Digital Networks Have Turned Some of America's Smaller Cities into Superstars." So we're looking forward to that. And again, as we move our economy forward and our community continues to grow, we look forward to this being something that will help us reach those points even faster. So thanks again to all the folks at FPB for making that happen. Let's see, next item would be number 12. This is number 6 from
Mayor,
the.
can I say something to that initiative? May I just really quickly?
Oh, sorry, I didn't see.
I just wanted to reiterate what you just said. 2 years ago when we all came on this board, that was not really a discussion about expanding fiber. There was a discussion of how do we maintain our current system, and we all see during this pandemic how critical internet access is going to be in the future. It is going to be the way of business in the future, and I'm just excited. There's for so many folks that like to say negative things about Frankfort. We are really on the front line in so many ways compared to so many other communities, and we've got so much potential, and I see just fantastic things for us, and that is a really exciting announcement. Actually, your audio is very muffled, Mayor, unfortunately, for people to hear that very clearly, but within a short amount of time, we should have fiber optic internet in the homes across our community, and we already have some free internet fiber connection in our park systems in our downtown, and we're making headway in this community, and I'm just proud, frankly, of some of the work of this commission over the last 2 years. We have knocked out a lot of big projects in a short amount of time, so it's been a pleasure to do so.
Right. Yeah, I apologize about the audio. I was using the city issued camera and microphone. I had to switch to an old microphone. It worked earlier, but for some reason we'll have to get our staff to maybe switch this out. So again, big announcement, especially for entrepreneurs and our economic growth and capabilities here in the community. And again, reiterate my thanks to our FPB board members, the wonderful staff under the leadership of our general manager, Gary Zing, whom we're very, very lucky to have in our community. So thank you all very much. Number 12 is the number 6 item from consent calendar that we moved down. So I will call on appropriate, let's see, that's the steward. Oh, city manager, do you want to read this one, or do we need to call on staff?
Was that on the contract assignment with sewer?
Yes.
When we moved to an action item?
Contract agreement with Jeff Greenwald.
Yes, sir. Would you like me to read just what I had highlighted?
If you don't mind.
Okay. Purpose of this memo is to recommend approval for a contract with Jeff Greenwald to act as a straw man for the purchase of the property located at 600 Schenkel Lane, and for the mayor to sign all related documents. Sewer department will send a purchase requisition to finance for $630.
All right. I know Commissioner.
I'll move to approve, Mayor.
Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Whisman. Move for approval.
Move to approve.
All right. Will require a second.
Commissioner Tippett or Waldridge, Mr. Sauer is.
Commissioner Witness, Tippett turned his mic on. He's coming.
Yeah, I'll second it.
All right. Second by Commissioner Tippett. Any discussion? See none, clerk, please call. I'm sorry, Commissioner Sauer. Oh, you're muted. Oh, Commissioner Sauer, your mic is muted. Sir.
Sorry, there we go. Yeah, the reason I need to recuse myself is Mr. Grindelwald rents property from me. So that's the reason that I'm going to have to do that. And I don't know, Mayor, if I just abstain, can I abstain rather than vote yes or no?
I think technically if you abstain, it goes with the majority. So if you want to just vote present or some other, I'll let the city attorney offer another, if you want to say some other phrase. Ms. Ross, do you have any other better recommendations?
Present is fine, or he can actually step away from his mic and camera for the vote.
And by doing that, Commissioner, you will not be counted as being at the meeting. So if commissioners are if you're not visible, then we don't consider you to be present for that period of time that you step away from your microphone. So if you would like to do that,
Okay. I will step away.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions, comments? All right, if not, I'd like to state for the record that Commissioner Sauer has temporarily left our meeting. And at this point, I'd ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, that is approved. Next item would be to go into executive session. And what we're going to do is invite our commissioners-elect. I think we still have Commissioner-elect Kelly May, Commissioner-elect Lisa Unger. Don't know if caller number 4 is anyone that is one of the newly elected officials, or if it's a staff person, or it might be somebody that's going to provide information in our closed session. But we'll figure that out. All right,
Mayor, I'll make the motion if you're ready.
we are ready.
I move that we go into executive session per KRS 61.810 subsection 1 subsection B, deliberations on future acquisitions of donated real property related to economic development where publicity would likely affect the value of the property.
Moved by Commissioner Whisman.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sauer. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Like sign. Okay. And so we have enough folks. We'll go into closed session to get us there.
Yes, sir. I just notified Plant Board to go back live again, so you should be good.
Perfect.
Thanks, Bobby.
All right. Be looking at everybody here. All right. Looks like we have everybody. All right, so we're back in open session, and I'll entertain any motions.
I'll make a motion, Mayor. Are we good with table 10? Mayor, I move that we accept the donation of 3.594 acres, parcel number 074-43-05-001.00 from Overlook Beargrass LLC with the approximate value of $935,000.
All right, motion by Commissioner Whisman.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Waldridge.
One question.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Whisman, then Commissioner Sauer.
Just for city solicitor, do I need to add into my motion the to pay the property tax that's listed?
Yes, I think that would be a good idea, Commissioner.
Mayor, may I amend that then to include the expenditure or payment of $711.08 for the county property tax for the current 2020 fiscal year?
You may. Okay, motion by
Second the amendment.
Second by Commissioner Waldridge. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. All right, clearly that was in favor of the amendment. All right, and now Commissioner Sauer.
I was simply going to note paying the taxes, and Eric beat me to it. That's okay.
Move to adjourn, Mayor.
Well, we have to vote on the motion first.
Okay. I thought we did.
Commissioner.
That was the amendment. All right, any other questions, comments on that? All right, clerk, please call the roll on the motion as amended.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, that motion is adopted, and we thank you for being with us. And again, the Commissioner-elect Kelly May, Commissioner-elect Kyle Thompson, there's Mayor-elect Lane Wilkerson, and Commissioner-elect Lisa Unger. Thank you all for joining us. We'll continue to include you on future meetings. And thanks for that. Congratulations again for joining us. And to all of you that have already been on the board, thank you for your work. And with that,
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sauer. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you all.